Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to tonight's stream. The final lockdown live before our coverage begins of the League One playoffs. I didn't think I'd be saying that at points this season. We've got three cracking guests lined up for us this evening who will join us live right now. We'll speak to them in just a moment. But right now, we're going to get cracking. Tonight, myself, Alex on the Negative, and Andrew will be discussing the announcement that came at about lunchtime today from Boris. Also, the news that Christian Burgess will be leaving Pompey over the summer and heading to a club in Belgium. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of it because I've struggled all day, and I just thought, you know what, we won't say it on the stream. It's a really difficult one to pronounce. At the time of recording, at the time of we're broadcasting live to you, I don't believe there's been any contractual negotiation regarding Sean Ragger or Christian Burgess in terms of whether they can play for Pompey in the playoffs or not. I believe we're closer than we are with Raggett, with Burgess than we are with Raggett. Gregory Smith is getting nervous for the playoffs. So are we. Jamie Webb, who joins us on Facebook, which you can now join us on. We are simultaneously broadcasting live from Facebook and YouTube. Sean is currently driving home. Please do not watch and drive, Sean. Please do not do that, mate. We're not endorsing that in any way whatsoever. But make sure you get us on when you get home. Jonathan Woodgate also today left Middlesbrough. Will also give you and he's been replaced by Neil Warnock, which was probably a favourite for a Pompey manager if they get up to the Championship. So we'll have to see. Obviously, the return of the Premier League and Championship as well. Our official predictions on the playoffs. There's so much to discuss. All in the company, just in time, of Alex on the Negative and Andrew, playing to get through tonight this evening for the second week running. We are live, so please refrain from giving us any kind of opinion that will get you into later go on to rely on in court, should I say. If you're watching us live tonight, we are just 10 days from the playoffs now, the first leg at Fratton Park. You can join us from 7:15 on Friday the 3rd of July. Alex on the Negative, first to you, mate. What do you make of Boris's announcement earlier today? How much of a positive step is this news?
It's good. It's definitely good. Is it the fourth release of restrictions, I think, now over the last month and a half or so? So it's all good. We're obviously moving in the right direction. The restrictions are less restrictive, but they're still important, aren't they? And that was kind of the message that came across in the conference. I don't know if anyone watched it, but they're still very cautious that we could have another spike, especially as we get towards the winter. So it's important everyone's still safe, and it's 1 meter with extra precautions, not 1 meter total. So, but it's great. I'm looking forward to coming down and seeing you guys because I can actually come and see you in your home now, which is perfect. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I think obviously, hopefully things keep moving in the right direction. I guess it makes quite a big difference for football as well, doesn't it? It's good for football being able to, I guess, train in smaller groups or bigger groups even, etc. So you jumping in, Andrew?
Yeah, well, I'm just agreeing with everything you're saying, mate. It's getting a bit exciting. Hopefully we will be still in a good position in the next few weeks and see what happens. No, there might be a few bounce backs, but let's see. We'll isolate those little issues, I think. So hopefully if Germany behaves itself, China behaves itself, and we don't get any problems, maybe you can be watching football by Christmas. Who knows?
Paul's just jumped in with the announcement that all these players that are on the screen now will be joining us on the Pompey website. So I haven't seen that, but Paul's confirmed it's for us. So thank you, Paul. A reliable source in Paul, so we'll stick with what Paul's had to say. Josh O'Neill cannot wait much longer for Pompey versus Oxford next Friday. We'll just jump back to what Paul was saying, Andrew, that they've just announced that everyone's here for the playoffs. We spoke earlier today that we were a little bit worried that that might be a bit detrimental to Pompey's promotion hopes this season if we're kind of a couple of men down than we were during the season. Now that's all been confirmed. How are you feeling?
Well, Tom, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if two players are moving on at the end of the season, I wonder how committed they're going to be to, especially defenders, how committed they're going to be to those tackles they might need to make. Because they can't afford to get injuries, can they, at this point? Otherwise, bang goes the transfer fee, doesn't it? So I don't know. It's a difficult one to answer. Is it the right thing? I don't know. So therefore, we have to see. Let's see how they perform.
We have to wait and see, don't we? Jamie Webb's come in. What do you make of the live Sky games? That was one of my questions to you. Obviously, the return of football in the Premier League and the Championship. Alex, how different has it been? What have you made of it? And is it something that we can get used to going forwards?
I think it's been okay, actually. I think it's been okay. I mean, the Merseyside derby was a bit of a disappointment, wasn't it? As a game, it wasn't great, but there's been some decent football, and I think it's just nice for everyone to have a bit of sport back. I mean, we kind of have to adapt to it, don't we? Until there's a different way of doing things and it's safer, we kind of have to. So I'd rather adapt and still watch sport than not have any sport at all. So yeah, I think it's been pretty good. I mean, Andrew said last week he wasn't bothered about watching any of it. He just said he wasn't going to watch a game because all he cares about is watching Pompey. So I want to ask him: have you watched any Premier League this week?
By accident, yes, I have, Tom. Tom, because Tom's had it on every screen in the frickin' house. So therefore, what's happened is, whatever room I walk into, there's the football's on. So by default, I've actually watched some games. But to be honest, not much of it, just bits of it. And I didn't see the Merseyside derby, actually, but I hear Everton could have won that, which would have been very interesting, wouldn't it? And we said that before lockdown, didn't we? Was going to be unlocked, as it were. It's a tactical game, isn't it? And it might be that Liverpool might lose 3 or 4 games. They might, if they can just about scrape by 0-0 with Everton. I don't know. They've got some big clubs to play. Man City, they've got to play. Imagine if Man City embarrassed them. It would be quite something to watch, in it. So, although I don't want to watch it, I'm sort of going to watch that game, that Liverpool game, assuming that game is the crucial game, as it were.
Can you do me a favour, Chappelle? We're just a tad to your right, mate, if you don't mind.
What? That way?
Yeah, that's better. That's fine. Sorry, you were just kind of doing that, so I just thought, yeah. You don't want to be veering off to far right, mate. You don't want that to be going on. Sean has come in with a question saying, "Do you think Bournemouth will be relegated this season?" I was going to ask you. Now we've seen a full. Tonight they're starting a brand new match day, so now we've seen a full round of Premier League fixtures as well as the overspill last Wednesday. What have we made of different teams' performances? Do you think Bournemouth, they lost, didn't they, on Saturday night to Crystal Palace? So do you reckon they get the local team to us? Are they on the way down?
Quite possibly. It's going to be tight, isn't it? Are they 1 point out of relegation? Is that right?
No, they're in relegation.
Are they 18th?
Yeah. Third from
I think there's a good chance. They didn't look great against Palace, did they? But I mean, there's still a number of games left. It's really just going to come down to who puts the strings together. You just need a couple of results, don't you? Anyone in that relegation zone, if they win 3 out of the next 7 or 8 games, they probably stay up, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's a tough call, Tom. But from what I hear, Bournemouth weren't very good. So I think they're one of the 3 to go down for sure, which would be great because we could play them next season if we get promoted.
I was just about to throw that into the equation. We haven't really discussed it, but there's so many great teams and great places to visit, especially near Mr. and Mrs. Negative's house that we can go and see over the year in the Championship. What do we think of the step up in terms of, obviously, clubs? At the minute, you've got teams like, well, I don't know, Charlton are in the Championship, aren't they? Millwall. There's loads of great clubs. Derby County, with Nottingham Forest. We go and visit all these fantastic places to go and watch football. Will it be a season that Pompey can stay up? And do you worry that because of the size and the establishment of the teams that have been there for quite some time now, will the adjustment period take too long for us to survive? What do you think?
If you don't mind, Alexander, I would just think I'd answer twofold on that one, Tom. One, I think firstly, we've got to get there. That's the first thing. So we might be just ahead of ourselves a little bit. We've got to get there. It's not going to be easy, is it? Let's face it. You see some of the Premiership teams that are struggling. You expect to walk it. So the fact we might be a little bit more favourite than others, I think that goes against you sometimes. So the answer to that is I'm not sure it's going to be that easy to get there. But if we do get there, it's going to be tough to stay there. But then we would be able to invest in some players, wouldn't we? We said 1,400 players being out of contract. A lot of those are going to be Championship players already. We're going to have to rebuild, aren't we? Especially if we're letting players go like Burgess. Not too worried about Raggett. He's on loan anyway, wasn't he? But Burgess, letting players like him go, you've got to be hoping that Jack Watmore's fit to come back in.
Looking forward to Notts Forest and Bristol City, another 2 that will potentially be visiting next season.
Yeah, I think the step will be a big step, Tom, actually. Right. I think if you think about the wages differential, like a top player in the Premier League is on, 300 grand a week. a top player in the Championship's on 30 or 40, and then you go down to our league and it's a top player's on 7 or 8 grand, aren't they? And then probably in League 2, 3 or 4. So the differential 3 to 4, 7 to 8 to 30 to 40, I think it gets exponential as you go up the leagues. And I think the quality difference is there as well. But as Andrew says, you've got 1,400 players out of contract. So if you've got, I think probably the most important role for the next season, if we go up, is who's head of recruitment in our club, and who do they bring in, and how well do they do that job? Because if we do bring in a number of top quality players at good prices on good contracts, that could set us up for a good run in the Championship. Even if they do a bad job, I think we'll struggle to stay up.
How many do we need?
Half a dozen.
Yeah, 6.
Okay.
Very good players.
We'll delve into that in just a moment. What I would like to just add before we proceed any further, to everyone watching right now, we have now started a little membership. You can now join us on the Fournilwrittenalloverit YouTube channel. You can become part of Team Good Morning Andrew and get all the different channel perks. If you're on a desktop, there's currently a button you can press. If you've got YouTube Premium right now, it's also free, so there you go. But you can press join. You can join us monthly. And you get all sorts of different behind-the-scenes access to Fournilwrittenalloverit, as well as some videos that people won't be able to see unless they're part of Team Good Morning Andrew. So if you fancy doing that, pop onto your laptop, or if you're watching us on a screen right now, press the join button, and we look forward to welcoming you into Team Good Morning Andrew. We want as many people as possible to join us, and because we've got the playoffs coming up as well, we've got some exciting content themes around those. I've also got lots of 4 minutes with to release to you this week as well, so there's plenty of those coming up. Just while I've given you a chance to ponder what we were just talking about, guys, is there anyone that shouts out to you in the mind right now? I know we spoke about Peterborough United and some of the talent that they've got in there. Good evening to Albie, by the way. Good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. Nice to see you. Andrew, go on then. Have you got any names in mind that you'd like to share with us?
I mentioned last week, Tom, didn't I? There might not be. You don't look too far into the Championship to find some good players that might be out of contract, that need a job, a club to go to, that would come to us, because it's not like you're sending them to Accrington Stanley. We are reputed to be a sensible sized club to join. So I think there's some going to be attractive for them to join. Obviously, financial is the key, isn't it? We've got the money to do that, I think. But then have we? We don't know, do we? How much is Eric Eisner's dad, Mr. Michael, going to pop in? That's the question, because he's going to need some support. Because if you're not getting the gate money in, you're not getting the TV revenue. You've got to rely on Michael Eisner to dip his hand in his pocket if we're going to go into the Championship and compete. So maybe some of those sums are being added up by Mark Catlin and the gang at Fratton Park as we speak, possibly. Are we financially stable enough to go up? I don't know. Let's see. We have to wait and see, don't we? But players, Tom, I think you mentioned the 2 guys from Peterborough, Dembele
and Tony, yeah.
Yeah, those 2, if they're out of contract and they want to move to a club that's in the Championship, then maybe we could grab one of those 2, we think. And then there's a whole host of them out of contract, Tom. It's 1,400, so to name 1 or 2 is difficult, isn't it? There's too many to choose from.
Reverend, there's a comment on the screen from Jamie said, if we get up, squad will need a big overhaul to step in the Championship. To me, what you said, it didn't sound like a massive overhaul. You said half a dozen. Would that be starting, or would that be on the bench as well?
I think half a dozen players that would sit as starters that would really drive the team. So, yeah, it is quite a big overhaul. I think we've got a good squad, haven't we? And a number of players maybe that play more minutes now could take a slightly secondary role. But we need to bring better players in the key areas. I mean, I've talked about attacking midfield as one that I think we missed, definitely. We're going to need, obviously, with Burgess and Raggett, issues there. We're going to need better centre-backs, aren't we? We're going to need a more robust defensive unit for the Championship. Some of the quality strikers that are at different clubs there. So I think, like the spine of the team, I think needs to improve massively. I think we've got some good wing players. But
I was going to say wing, we look quite strong, don't we, on the wing?
Yeah, centre-back, centre-mid, centre-forward. I think we need to be better than we are. So, yeah, that is a big change, isn't it?
Andrew, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Do you think Ivan Toney's worth 15 million?
Tom, to be honest with you, I don't even know who Ivan Toney is. You
just said you wanted to sign him, so you must know who he is.
Oh, the guy from Peterborough. Big pardon. No, I don't think he's worth 15 million. No.
No. I think you're worth 15 million, though. Good morning, Andrew.
If they wanted to sign an Andrew, then they'd be more than welcome to 15 million from Fournilwrittenalloverit. That's absolutely fine. I'm sure we can get that arranged.
If I were 15 million, I wouldn't be sitting here, would I? Be in the Bahamas or somewhere like that.
That's true.
Pompey Sailor Kevin came in and said, would you take back Nathan Thompson? Last season, he was looking to sign for a championship club. I believe Nathan Thompson and Ben Thompson, two different players, obviously. Two different.
You wouldn't take Nathan Thompson?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Go
on. For me, he was too slow for the championship. That's the first thing. Secondly, I like the guy, but I don't like anyone that decides that they've got the upper hand and they're just going to leave the club because they decide they're going to go to a championship club, which he never got. Because actually, I don't think he's good enough for a championship club, mate, to be honest. And if you don't want to play for football for our club and get us into the championship, then we don't want him on board again. Why should we give him a second chance? He didn't want to wear the shirt and fly the flag. So I don't think we should. I think we should look. There's tons of others that have come on the table, and why should we look the gift horse in the mouth? I don't think we should.
I do think Ben Thompson could play championship level.
Ben Thompson, yes, for sure.
Yeah. He was quality, wasn't he?
What if I throw in some? Obviously, Sunderland have had a pretty poor finish to the season. I was chatting to a Sunderland fan who will appear on the 4 Minutes With series next week. We mentioned Luke O'Nien and Lyndon Gooch and players like that, who are all brilliant quality players that play for a big club like Sunderland. Now they're stuck with another season in League One. Will those kind of people and will the talents from Ipswich perhaps and Sunderland be looking to jump on the Pompey bandwagon, as it were, and potentially, we don't know yet, obviously we've still got a long way to go, but head up to the championship that way and then because the Sunderland, quite a lot of their squad is made up of championship talent first and foremost, isn't it?
There's some good players there, isn't there? But I think we're probably talking too much about what happens if we get up, aren't we? Because we're nowhere near there yet. We've got to win 3 games or 2 games convincingly, haven't we? So I don't know. We'll see when we get there. I think like I said earlier, the director of football job is going to be massive for if we get promoted, but there's going to be a lot of players available and a lot of good players available. So we'll get to that point when we get there. Whether or not we're going to get there is still a challenge, isn't it? I don't know. What do you guys think about the Oxford game? Are you feeling confident?
We're going to keep our feet firmly on the ground, I think, boys. And I think that we otherwise we could end up like watching England, couldn't we? If we're not careful. So all the stuff that's on TV at the minute that you watch and we watch, it's just a game of football, isn't it? But our game next Friday night is we'll either be going out Saturday night to the pub celebrating on the 4th of July proper, or we'll be out commiserating. So as we said,
he'll be down the pub.
Yeah, he'll be down the pub anyway. But we're gonna think it through. If we my view is, I don't think even a 1-0 or 2-0 home win against Oxford is a good place for us to be going away. I think we either need to be 0-0 or 1-1, or we need to be winning convincingly 4-0 at home, because we need to go there with the attitude not to defend a small lead. Two
comments on Facebook have come in quick succession. One's on the screen now from Sean saying Andrew talks a lot of sense. Another one has come in from, I believe it was Jamie, has come in and said that Mr. Negative talks a lot of sense, surely worth a smile. Facebook, I don't know what video you're watching, but clearly it's not the right one, because quite a lot of what he says.
Normally we talk a load of rubbish.
Exactly. So thank you for and Jamie's jumped on and Andrew as well. So guys, please.
Yeah. Well, Tom, the thing is,
Specsavers.
The legend. I see the legend's made a couple of comments tonight, which is great to hear from him, because he's always good value and he's always participating in everything that we do and everything that Pompey do. So welcome back, the legend, Sean.
Join us next Friday. We got a comment in. I can't find it. There we go. George O'Hearn. Sorry if I pronounced your surname wrong, George. He's coming with a good one, saying, if you were in Kenny's shoes, who would you sign at right mid out of Harness or Williams for the first leg? Start, sorry, not sign.
I would go. I think I said Harness last week, but on reflection, I think I would play Williams.
Oh.
I just think he's got something else, hasn't he? You got Ronan Curtis on the left. Williams, I don't know. He's got pace. He's nimble. He's small. He's a bit like me, really. Just a great guy. I don't know. I just fancy him, and I think he seems like he's more up for it. You know, when he plays, he's really buzzing and
Dan
he's on
Harness.
it. And hey,
Dan Harness.
yeah, I think so. I
agree with Alexander. I think that he definitely brings the pace up a notch. He speeds the game up very much, and he's quite threatening. Dan, he is a threatening player. What I would say about Harness, Tom, is a typical sort of that style, and I'm not going to use the wrong words here, but he's a typical style of player that plays that way, isn't he? As opposed to the pace of a nippy little chap like Alexander's saying. Nippy, can you say nippy? Yeah, you can. A nippy little chap that can get down the wing.
Calling me nippy?
No. No, I'm talking about William. So yeah,
comments right now. Let us know. Would you play Harness or would you play Williams? I'm going to stick my neck out right now and say Harness all day long in any team. Much more consistent in terms of games than Williams. I've never seen Marcus Harness play a bad game. I also think that all the attributes you've mentioned, the nippy, you've got that. He's not the biggest bloke in the world, is he? He's quick. He scores some absolute. Did you see the goal at Brentford? Aerial threat. Not the words aerial and threat come to mind. Someone's come in and said, "There we thank you, Harness, 100%." There we go. We've got big S.
Have you just selected the comments that back your view up?
I'm looking at the screen and no one has said Williams right now. So, I'll probably go on to eat my. Paul has said Evans, but there we go. It's an interesting one.
Wasn't in the frame, was he?
Sean, you've just praised Sean for his for his great comments all the time, mate, and he's gone for Harness. So
comments, but not decisions, Tom.
No, decisions as well. Posh FC, Blue and White Army's come in as well, saying Harness. I think, boys, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one. And the comments that said that you were talking a lot of sense earlier, then gone out the window completely with the Williams comment.
Back to normal, mate. Back to normal.
Can we not see that Harness and Williams are similar players, but Harness has an edge? Daniel Appleton's come in saying Harness all the way as well. And JW99, I can see. You can look at this live chat right now. I can see no Harnesses coming in. Sorry, no Williams is coming in.
Tom, can I say something? That means that Kenny Jackett won't play him.
Perhaps.
He'll play Williams and he'll score the winner.
Yeah.
I think we're missing a trick there, boys. Ollie Clark, who's recently joined as a member. Thank you, Ollie. Who would you start at right back out of McCrory or Bolton?
I'd go Bolton.
Yeah, probably. There's not that much between him, I don't think.
As well. He's not even a Pompey fan. He's gone for Harness. So there we go.
Do we know if every player in the squad is fit and ready?
I think so. I think everyone's ready to go. But I wonder, there's another question for you. I wonder what injuries might be picked up in the first leg, potentially, because of a lack of game time.
Well, I was just thinking of, was it Birmingham the other night? Had 8 players out, didn't they? A couple with COVID and then 6 that had got injuries in training in the week before the first game. So,
Arsenal had a nightmare, didn't they, as well?
You say COVID?
Yeah.
What's that? Move on.
Arsenal had a nightmare of injuries as well, didn't they? So they were.
Yeah, they're just terrible anyway, aren't they?
Well, yeah, there's not really anything to blame on that, is there? So we've got another one coming from Albie saying Marquis or Harrison, sorry.
Marquis.
Harrison.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because of the style of play, we cannot play Marquis up front on his own because of the style of play that came.
It hasn't worked all season.
It won't.
We're in the playoffs. It hasn't been that bad.
It doesn't suit him. I
agree. It doesn't suit him. He's better with someone alongside him. I agree with that. But I think if you've got Ronan Curtis on the left, Williams on the right, and then the League One's Alan Shearer, central striker, then you've got a decent chance.
League One's Alan Shearer.
He is a bit like Alan Shearer. He doesn't really do much, but he just knocks them in.
Mark's come in saying harness all the way. So thank you for that, Mark. We've got another one saying both. Rugby Forever said both up front. So is Ollie Clark. So is Sean.
He won't play them though.
But then that detracts the position further back the field, doesn't it? I suppose.
Well, it's very attacking. It's very attacking, isn't it? To have both of those guys.
It has to be first leg, doesn't it?
Curtis on the left, I guess. You've got a very attacking 4-4-2 there, haven't you? Maybe that's the way we should play it, but it's not the way Kenny will play it. He'll play 4-4-1.
We should play it. He won't do it. He'll put one up front, won't he?
I wonder if Kenny Jackett's had enough time with a couple of the pre-season friendlies we've been playing behind closed doors, obviously. Do you think he's got his starting 11? Is it all ready and prepped to go, or are we still... No?
He doesn't know it, Tom.
He doesn't, and well, not even that this time of reflection has given him to have a look back on the season, probably at a time where there's not much else to do. There's not games coming thick and fast every Tuesday, Saturday. He's had enough time to reflect and think, well, actually, have I got my best 11 on the pitch?
I think, in fairness, though, as we've just discussed, there's quite a good hustle for positions, isn't there? You could play either Williams or Harness. You could play Harrison or Marquis. So there's 4 teams you could pick out of those 4 players, and that's because we've got good strength in depth. It's how you get the best 11 on the field that play well together, isn't it? In the formation, that's the key out of our squad, because we've probably got the best squad in the league, but it's getting the top 11 to perform as a team.
It's a fair point.
Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned Andy Cannon in this discussion, have we?
It seems all season we haven't been able to do that, and that comes back to tactical nonce, doesn't it? We haven't been able to play our best 11 in the right positions all season, have we? So we need. You're right, Tom. Maybe a reflection of 3 months, looking back at the whole season, doing some homework, thinking about it, looking at what's going on, listening to some people like us, fans, and other people around you to say. You might think that Boris Johnson make all the decisions, but listen to people around you and take some good advice.
Like Dominic Cummings, for example.
Well, exactly. That's
from one extreme to the other. Albie's come in and said, "Alex, what's going on in your head, pal?" So he had some compliments earlier on, and now all of a sudden it's all gone down the pan. If we go up, can us see Jackett leaving like Cook did when we won League Two? Could Jackett not hack it if we end up in the Championship? There's one we'll discuss in a moment. Apparently, Lee Brown played a blinder against Brentford. Very quickly, either of you, would you start Lee Brown? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Bit of a he's a father figure in the team. Yeah. Do you think Oxford haven't prepped as much as Pompey? Less friendlies and resting Taylor, so we won't be as match fit. That's an interesting one. If you're watching right now, by the way, I just want to plug once again that you can become a member. If you're watching, you haven't subscribed, we've got all the different, all the 2 legs for the playoffs are coming up on this channel. So Friday night next week, the 3rd of July, and then the following Monday, and then potentially back at Wembley on the 13th. So there we go. Big Reese is coming. So, what's up with you?
I'm saying Wembley.
Big Reese is coming in. Adam May has to start. Why have we not thought of that one?
What?
Good point.
I think there's a hint of sarcasm in his comment, mate, if I'm honest.
Oh, that's Big Reese, is it? Or is it Little Reese?
I'll put Hawkins up front.
Oh, come off it. Moving on. Hello, good evening to BPFC Vlogs. How you doing, mate? Welcome along to the stream. Our new signing, Bryn Morris. Never actually seen him play, I don't think. So
yeah, we have, Tom. He was only subbed, I think.
Right, okay. Pittman playing in defence for the playoffs. Imagine that. Thanks, Troy, for getting involved on that one.
Yeah.
We've gone for that one. Sorry,
I do quite fancy Pittman the last 20 minutes. I do think that is a trump card.
He's not part of the plans, mate. He hasn't been playing in pre-season.
Surely you've got to have someone of his quality for the last 20 minutes. Surely. He's the magic man, isn't he? He comes up with the moments.
Do you remember him sprinting at Wembley?
Well, he's never sprinted, mate.
Do you remember that was the only time at Wembley, wasn't it? Reese has come in saying one thing you guys should have done You should have done a best 11 of all time. You should have done a worst 11 of all time. I remember we did a best 11. Myself and Andrew did that on a podcast. Worst 11, I'll list off a few. We've got Joe De Vera's in there, Michael Smith. Who else will be in there?
Ollie Hawkins.
Oh, Ollie Hawkins, yeah. Who else?
Who's your worst manager?
Cottrell.
Cottrell.
No, I like Cottrell. He has some spirit.
Tony Adams was pretty bad, wasn't he?
Tony Adams, yeah.
He wasn't great. That was a bit before me, there. Seddon has to play from Jack Hinton. Thanks for coming in, mate. Thanks for joining us. Interesting one. Thoughts?
Goalkeeper was Yoshi Garaguchi. Japanese.
He was
Japanese. Shocking.
He was terrible. He was a great shot stopper, wasn't he? Like, he could fly from one end of the goal to the other. But could the guy kick or pass or do anything else? Could he handle the ball? No chance. Couldn't catch.
Yeah, he should have been an athlete, really, like a gymnast or something.
Andrew, discuss David Daniels' point, Bass or McGilvery while I quickly close my window.
To be honest, I would go McGilvery, I think, because of his experience, but then Bass is a good shot stopper and he's been playing well in the last 7 or 8 games, so it's difficult. Either one would do me. I don't know.
What are you looking at?
Either one would do me.
Some on your feet.
I would go McGilvery. I know everyone seems to, when we've had this discussion previously, the general consensus in the chat has been Bass, hasn't it? But I think McGilvery probably would be the better all-round keeper.
Mark Sissons has come in and said Barry Harris up front. I don't think that's a bad shout, Mark. I reckon we could probably probably bring him on in the second half. We get a bit tired, don't they?
What Mark's saying there is he's up front on a team bus. That's what he means.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I was going to say, Barry Harris is in for a job now, isn't he? Collecting all the balls in empty stadiums. There's no fans to throw them back, are there?
Yeah, but you see the size of his ball bag.
I have seen this.
Yeah.
Where I think Edmund won't play. Harrison will come on 75 minutes and Harrison will play 75 minutes and Marquis will come on. Maybe that would be the other way round. I'm not sure. John Jennings, here he is. Dan and John has joined the chat.
Oh, yeah, Alan Ferren.
Alan Ferren, shocking manager.
Yeah,
he was bad.
Right, well done, John. Good shout, that one, mate.
He wasn't great, was he? So there you go. Barry Harris can't go. High risk group, of course. Barry Harris. So maybe he might not be allowed inside Fratton Park. What I wanted to move on to very quickly. Would you like to discuss the League Two playoff final that has been decided? Both teams over 2 legs winning 3-2 on aggregate to go to Wembley. So,
who is it? I didn't see any of it. What was it? What happened?
Northampton are going to play Exeter City after Colchester and Cheltenham were beaten 3-2 respectively over 2 legs. Sorry, which is interesting. Given the close nature of those 2 score lines, who do you think will be promoted?
Well, how did the scores go? What was it like?
Oh, I've got no idea. I just quickly Googled it earlier and found out it was 3-2. But I think there was like a 2-1 and then so it was quite closely knitted side. So, but who would you say on their day at Wembley, Exeter or Northampton?
It's 50-50, isn't it? But I would like Exeter because Ben plays for Exeter, Brennan Dickinson.
Yeah, one of our friends plays for Exeter, don't they? So I'd like Exeter as well. And actually, to be honest, they've probably missed out a few seasons running Exeter, haven't they? So it'd be good to see them. And of course, then you've got the Devon Derby for them as well, with Plymouth up there, haven't you? So, and Swindon, I think. Yeah. Probably. So there's a bit of they don't have to travel so far. So that's probably a good one, I think. Exeter probably. Yeah.
Just simply because of their travel arrangements for the season, you think it should be Exeter?
The derbies they can go to, they go Bristol Rovers, Swindon and Plymouth, can't they?
Yeah, apparently Cheltenham were 2-0 on the first leg and Northampton won 3-0. So I've got my scorelines completely wrong, but they were 3-2 on aggregate. So that's what we could tell you. At the end of the 2 legs, they were 3-2 on aggregate for each team, which is a bit strange. Sorry, go for it. You were saying something, Reverend.
We would take that scoreline.
Would we?
We would.
We'd take 3-2. We'd take anything, wouldn't we?
Do you think it will be
What
as
do you
tight as that?
Yes. I think
Because
it will be down to the wire.
Okay, cool. Well, apart from saying that will be down to the wire, that is it from us. Oh, one more thing. Vast majority of goals have come in the second half of each match in the Premier League. So I think that will be replicated in League One, perhaps.
Don't know.
Don't know. No idea at all. Brilliant. Reverend, you want to come in on that one? Just see if it will take like 45 minutes for us to get up to speed and then the goals will come flying in. I think we've lost him.
Yeah.
He's gone. Right.
I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, he's back. I was just saying about the Prem, mate, and how he's not got. He is gone, isn't he? He's gone for good. He's frozen.
I'm here.
Oh, I'm here. You're here, mate, but we could just see your stern look on your face. Give us some audio then. What do you reckon? Premier League goals have come majority in the second half. Is that going to be the same for us?
Oh, no idea, mate. No idea. I think probably in the first leg it'll be a bit tight. The first half, first proper half of football we've played in 3 months in it. So I think there's going to be some nerves. But I mean, I'd hope we come out the blocks strong and start well. But I think we seem to be a bit of a second half team as well, don't we? We seem to always keep it quite tight in the first half and then loosen things up in the second. So maybe that's how it goes. I don't know. Ultimately, we just got to be the best team over 90 minutes, haven't we?
Yeah.
Or 120 even.
Well, could be even longer than that. So that is it from us. And that is it for the Lockdown Live in its entirety. Thank you so much for joining us for, I think it's been 6 weeks now that we've been doing these. So that's been absolutely fantastic fun. Thank you to everyone who's joined in on the comments and let us know their thoughts and really kind of driven the Lockdown Live for us. Once again, thank you to Andrew and Alexander the Negative for joining me. I think you're back now, guys. We'll go back to the 3. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And we will see, all 3 of us will be on next Friday, the 3rd of July. Pompey will potentially take a step closer to the championship. And that will be the last time we played there was almost a decade ago. Bye from us. Have a great evening. See you next Friday.
Cheers, bye.